Next topic, the Z guard. I love playing the knee-in half guard, or the Z guard, says this reader, so that I can attack the collars with loop chokes and collar chokes and hunt for kimuras when my opponent defends the chokes. However, I have trouble defending the pass or launching any attacks when my opponent stands up to pass. Any advice or some simple ways to transition from half to open guard and launch some quick attacks? That's a really good question. Now, the Z guard, or the knee-in guard, a very effective counter to that is to stand up. If you can get rid of your opponent's grips and stand up, it completely nullifies that position. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go Google Z guard, go Google knee-in half guard. You'll see exactly what I mean. Standing up pretty much nullifies that. So your opponents are doing one of the correct passes. Too many people spend all their energy trying to fight their way through that knee that's in the way, or trying to get it out of the way. Of course, the guy on the bottom is really good at defending that knee being pushed out of the way, and if that wasn't the case, people wouldn't use it. So it's refusing to play that game. It's saying, screw this, I'm going to stand up, now I'm going to pass the guard on my feet, and that does nullify the Z guard. But that wasn't your question. Your question was, what do you do if you're on the bottom? Fundamentally, I think a lot depends on the grips. From the bottom in the Z guard, you need grips. You need the sleeves, you need the knee, you need the lapel. With no gi, you need the head, you need the wrist, you need the underhook, you need the overhook. You need some way to hold them down. Otherwise, you're going to blow past your guard and end up in mount, end up in side mount, or even just stand up and disengage, which is, of course, what our friend is talking about. So the number one answer to stop them from just standing up is to get a good grip and keep their posture broken. So now, when you've got a grip, but maybe you weren't keeping their posture broken, or maybe they're really strong, or maybe they've managed to back up regardless, you've got a grip. Most open guard, well, if you're standing and I'm down, then I'm typically going to be fighting you from the open guard, right? If I don't have any grips at all, now it's going to be that whole game of, maybe sitting in butterfly guard, maybe sitting on my back and baiting you to come in so that I can grab one of those other guards. That's not really your question, I don't think, because everybody who plays guard against somebody standing has to have some ways to make their initial grips, to get their initial contact, to entangle the person standing up. But if you've got some grips, if you've got a lapel grip and a sleeve grip, let's say, and the opponent stands up, that plays pretty well into some classic types of guard. That plays well into De La Riva, if you switch your grip and insert that De La Riva hook. That can go well into reverse De La Riva, into spider guard, into standard open guard, where you've got, say both feet on the hips, and you've got a collar grip and a lapel grip, or a collar grip and a sleeve grip, and you're pulling the guy forward. So take stock of what you already have. Hopefully you have a grip. If you have a grip, depending on which grip you have, it'll play into certain kinds of open guard more easily. So what I suggest is you do with a training partner is, I don't know what kind of grip you normally use when you're on the bottom in Z guard. Hopefully you're using a grip. If you're not using a grip, start using a grip. It'll make standing up much more difficult. If you are using a grip, then get it with a partner, get that grip, let the guy stand up, and see what you can transition into. Like I said, the big ones, the most common ones would be De La Riva, reverse De La Riva, spider, and standard open guard. That's not an exhaustive list. If you're an upside down guard player, as the guy stands up, you spin to upside down guard. You go to your bread and butter. You go to whatever you're comfortable with. But I think the idea of using whatever grips you have to capitalize so that you don't have to completely release everything and then play that whole game of, okay, you're going to try and run past my guard, and I'm going to try and catch something on the way in. If you don't release your grips, you're already a step ahead. Really, for a lot of open guard positions, it's getting the grip that's the hard part. And if you're going against a good open guard guy and he gets his grips, I wouldn't say you're completely screwed, but you're already, you're not at neutral anymore. You're already far in deficit of where you need to be. Now you need to fight your way back to a neutral grip and then get your own grips before you get around to passing. So if you can get a good grip right off the bat and avoid that whole detached and hunting for that initial grip phase, that's a really good thing.